Tonight on Cronkite News, we are 1 week away from Election Day, with Arizona being a crucial swing state. That means the campaign visits aren't done. We'll tell you who is visiting the Valley and when.
Plus, why some government employees are concerned about the outcome of this year's presidential election.
And more on the Red Bull chariot race event in Tempe that pitted teams of 4 against one another in a series of challenges. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Ann Perry.
And I'm Nash Dara. Thank you for joining us.
The general election is now just 1 week away.
And earlier today, election officials in Maricopa County talked about what they are doing to make sure everything runs smoothly at the ballot box. There are 2.5 million active registered voters in Maricopa County this year. And officials said today that they've already received more than 1 million early ballots so far. Maricopa County Sheriff Russ Skinner talked today about the steps his office is taking to secure the ballots.
I want you to rest assured that there has been immense planning for many, many years relative to this operation for democracy, to make sure that this community is safe, to make sure that those locations are safe, to make sure that we get those ballots back to McTech safely. And there is zero tolerance that we as public safety will take in relative to anything, any type of criminal act or any type of issue that arises.
Some of the worry about security around this election comes from comments by former President Trump about the last election and his supposed connection to Project 2025, a far-right blueprint for a Republican administration. The president has denied any connection to Project 2025, but as Macy Markham tells us, some federal employees are concerned about what will happen should he win re-election.
Donald Trump has vowed to drain the swamp, sounding the alarm for some federal employees who say that the politicization of government workers is a disservice to Americans.
People want to come and do the work that they're skilled at doing and deliver for the American people. They don't want to have to pass a loyalty test or lie about what the facts are in order to keep their jobs.
Trump's time in the Oval Office was marked by Schedule F, a policy that made it easier to fire government workers. This was reversed during the Biden administration, but some fear Trump will pick up right where he left off.
Project 2025's blueprint doubles down on the original idea and really inserts even more political appointees, and Schedule F is designed to basically say that your job is dependent upon your political loyalty to the administration's agenda.
When Trump moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado in 2020, 87% of the staff was lost. Now, employees are afraid something similar could happen again.
During the Trump administration, there seemed to be an effort even before Schedule F to institute a new layer of political appointments in between the administrator and the career staff, and the impression you got was they wanted to make sure that almost every judgment that was made in EPA was properly screened from a political lens.
The National Treasury Employees Union has tried to safeguard jobs through new contracts, and President Doreen Greenwald says most employees aren't focused on politics in the office.
But when they leave the office and see the news and they see the attacks on federal employees and all the negative information that's out there, that concerns them because they believe that a negative thing is being painted about them that is false.
In Washington, Macy Markham, Cronkite News.
The Bureau of Land Management has since been moved back into Washington by the Biden administration.
Vice President Kamala Harris will give her final big speech tonight at the Ellipse in D.C.
This is the same spot where former President Donald Trump rallied his supporters on January 6th in 2021. Despite the setting, Harris's advisors say her speech will be hopeful and optimistic, describing plans for the country and focusing on a top issue among voters, the economy. The hope of this speech is to reach conflicted voters. These are voters who may have concerns about Trump, but who are not convinced Harris is a candidate who can get the country on track.
Today, former President Trump spoke to press, calling Sunday's rally at Madison Square Garden, quote, a love fest. It comes after a backlash over a divisive remarks made by a comedian at the rally. President Trump made today's comments while speaking to supporters at Mar-a-Lago.
Coming up this week, both presidential candidates will be stopping by the Valley this Thursday. Vice President Harris will rally supporters in Phoenix, and Mexican music act Los Tigres del Norte will perform at the rally. Former President Trump will make an appearance at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, alongside former Fox News host Tucker Carlson and former rival RFK Jr. And if you already filled out a ballot, today is the last day to mail it in.
That's right. If you can't make it to the mailbox, don't panic. There are other options so your vote gets counted. You can drop your ballot off at a ballot box, or you can vote in person. You can find the closest ballot drop box by polling location by visiting the recorder's website. Remember, Election Day is 1 week away. And if you haven't cast your vote yet, there are 13 statewide propositions on this year's ballot. And 2 of those propositions would change how primaries are conducted in our state. Aiden Hansen joins us now with a breakdown of Propositions 133 and 140.
2 propositions on the Arizona ballot this year could decide how Arizona will hold primary elections, Propositions 140 and 133. Prop 140 is the Open Primary Citizen Initiative. Your primary elections would look different under this proposition if passed. There would be no Democrat or Republican-only primary elections, and all candidates would appear on the ballot regardless of party affiliation, with the top vote-getters advancing to the next round. Supporters of Prop 140 say that the law will rule out extreme candidates from holding office, and those against it say that it limits voters from voting for whom they want. Prop 133 was created in reaction to Prop 140. If passed, this keeps primary elections run the way they are now. Currently, Democrats and Republicans both elect candidates for their partisan positions, such as the governor, state legislators, or federal representatives. Proposition 133 would ban an open primary system or ranked choice voting like allowed under Prop 140. Supporters of Prop 133 say that it is simplifying the election process, and those against it feel it is only being passed to ban open primary systems. One interesting fact is that back in 2012, Arizonans voted no, 67 to 33%, on a proposition to solidify a top 2 primary system.
Coming up next, poor air quality can lead to serious health problems.
Some of these health problems can have a negative impact on children. How a group of mothers and government officials are fighting for cleaner air.
Yes, we have some nice cool temperatures later this evening, but if you're wondering what it's going to be like for Halloween, make sure to tune in for the rest of our forecasts later in the show.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
People have always had trouble trying to put me into a box. A professor, suit and tie is just not me. Without the ocean, I don't know what I would do. You know, the ocean's always been there for me. As Hawaiian people, we believe that the coral is the first living being to come out of the darkness. It's the foundation of our entire lifestyle, and that's what my research is about. What we do is we take photographs of the reef over long periods of time to create models that can tell us what the planet is doing. If we go deaf to what the Earth is telling us, then we'll never be able to live in harmony. If I can get my students excited about protecting the ocean, then they're the ones who are gonna really make the difference. I hope my students realize that I'm not trying to prepare them for something in the distant future. Their time is now at Arizona State University.
The poor air quality we breathe is not just a minor inconvenience. It also leads to some serious health problems.
These issues range from significant lung development problems in children to premature births, according to experts. Our Ignacio Ventura joins us in the newsroom to explain more.
Field organizers and government officials gathered for the inaugural conference on the impacts of extreme weather on Latino maternal and children's health to discuss environmental issues and potential solutions.
Pregnant individuals exposed to pollution face significant risks for themselves and their children. A study published in the Curious Journal of Medical Science highlights a connection between negative environmental effects and health issues that may develop later in life. Liz Hurtado, the National Field Manager for Moms Clean Air Force, points out that proximity to transportation and petrochemical plants contributes to health disparities.
So for various reasons, our Latino communities find themselves living, working, playing in areas that are highly contaminated.
In 2024, the American Lung Association named Phoenix one of the top 5 worst cities for ozone pollution in its State of the Air report. This report also assigned Maricopa County a failing grade for air pollution.
There's no opportunity to get away and have just a fresh breath of air. There's a lot of transportation issues. People can't just get in their car and drive away and enjoy the mountains easily or any other location.
The Environmental Protection Agency notes that Phoenix continues to exceed in national ambient air quality standards for ozone levels.
I think from today's event, not only from US EPA, is that we're here not only to identify, but to regulate and really eliminate pollution sources in communities, particularly communities of color.
Heat presents another significant environmental challenge for residents of the valley. The chief heat officer highlighted the significance of the extreme weather.
Despite these challenges, many community organizers remain dedicated to advocating for safer environments and initiatives to combat climate change. In the newsroom, Ignacio Ventura, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Ignacio. Starting tomorrow, the Arizona Humane Society is bringing the vet to you.
That's right, and the Healthy Tales Mobile Veterinarian Clinic is hitting the road to bring affordable wellness exams. You can find the truck at Nourish Phoenix on 9th Street and Buchanan from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon. The truck is offering free exams and $15 microchips, as well as vaccines for flea and tick prevention appointments, with a $25 deposit fee.
Well, it's a beautiful time to get outside with your pets if you have them.
That's right, the fall weather has finally moved in. Iman Abraham joins us now with our forecast for the rest of the week.
Yes, we're going to go ahead and take a look into these fall temperatures as we see that is dipping into that 70-degree temperatures and even those mid-60 degrees with 65 degrees by 10 p.m. tonight. So we're getting rid of those triple-digit numbers and heading into those fall temperatures. Now we take a look into these low temperatures for Wednesday. We will see that it's going to be 52 degrees in Phoenix and even a shocking 18 degrees up by the Grand Canyon. Now, as we take a look into these high temperatures, we will see that it's going to be a nice cool 77 degrees in Phoenix and even a nice cool 50 degrees all the way up in Flagstaff as well. Now, as we take a look into their futurecast, we will see that there's not a whole lot of activity in Phoenix. However, in Grand Canyon, there will be a little bit of light ice and a little bit of a light rain. But as we take a look into the rest of the week, we will see that is a really nice cool temperatures this week, way below average, as we will see even on Thursday, it'll be 81 degrees for Halloween, and it'll be 52 for the low. So make sure to maybe bring a jacket if you're going trick-or-treating this year, because it might be a little cold. Now, as we take a look into the rest of the week, on Saturday and Sunday, it will be pretty cloudy, and it will be a 60% chance of rain on Sunday as well, with a really low temperature, 68 degrees as well. But as we head into Tuesday, it will be nice, clear skies as we head into the election. I'm Iman Abraham from Cronkite's Weather Center. Back to you guys.
Well, there's no snow in our forecast, and unfortunately, the same is true for Japan's Mount Fuji. It's the first time the mountain hasn't seen snow this far into the year, in decades. Usually, the peak of Mount Fuji is covered in snow by early October, but so far this year, it's seen none. Weather officials there are blaming the high temps on the lack of snow. It's the first time in 130 years that the mountain has remained snow-free this late into the year. With weather getting cooler, golf season is almost prime time in the valley,
which is perfect timing for the 2024 Charles Schwab Cup Championship. The Schwab Cup will be the last event in the PGA Tour's championship season. More on that after the break.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @CutASU.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm your host, Jason Goldie. The World Series is in full swing, and one Tucson native is doing everything he can to win. Yankees outfielder Alex Verdugo is making his presence known so far in the World Series. Verdugo hit his first home run of the postseason in the 9th inning of Game 3. The 2 points secured off Verdugo's bat accounted for the only offense for the Yankees last night. Despite all the hype, the Yankees are now down 3-0 to the Dodgers and are looking for a spark in Game 4, which takes place tonight at 5:08 p.m. The Phoenix Suns have started the season red hot and are second in the Wild Wild West with a record of 3-1. Last night they went up against the Los Angeles Lakers, and let me tell you, this one got crazy. Suns superstars Kevin and Devin combined for 63 total points. It came down to the very end, but the Suns were able to steal this one, 109-105, and give the Lake Show their first loss of the season. Phoenix will head over to Inglewood, California this Thursday for their second match against the Clippers this year. The 2024 Charles Schwab Cup Championship tees off next week at Phoenix Country Club as the final event in the PGA Tour Champions season. The tournament marks the culmination of the season, bringing together the top 36 players from the tour to compete for the prestigious Schwab Cup title. Rocco Mediate, a fan favorite who lives here in the Valley, is coming off a recent win at the Constellation Furyk and Friends tournament. Mediate, known for his legendary duel with Tiger Woods in the 2008 U.S. Open, shared his gratitude for continuing to compete at a high level in a tour filled with longtime friends and rivals.
I play golf for a living. All you gotta do is think about that for a second. And that's pretty cool. And I've been doing it for 39 years with the greatest guys of all time out here. So, and we keep getting to do it, and we're still like a family, and it's lucky.
The tournament begins Thursday, November 7th, and runs through Sunday the 10th. The winner will take home the Schwab Cup and have a chance to be crowned this year's overall tour champion. The Cardinals beat the Dolphins 28-27 on Sunday. Chad Ryland converted a game-winning field goal as time expired. At yesterday's media availability, Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon had praise for Kyler Murray.
Not, as you would say, like instinctive feel plays, you know, Trey, Mike, Dortch, James Conner, like Martin. Like there's a lot of times where he's prolonging the play, and there's some feel to those scramble drills, and he's very poised, he's never sped up, and he's still got his eyes downfield, and then he makes some decisions sometimes to tuck it and run it too. So those are huge plays for us. Extension plays are huge.
Heading into Week 10 for college football, the Sun Devils are 5-2 and 9th in the Big 12 Conference. Head coach Kenny Dillingham expressed how important it is to stay healthy for the remaining weeks.
There's some programs that can keep the foot on the gas and go, and if they get some guys dinged up, they can survive. And then other programs that it's a battle of health. Who is the healthiest and the freshest in week 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12?
The Sun Devils look ready to return from their bye week this Saturday against winless Oklahoma State. The Red Bull Chariot Race challenges teams of 4 to build their own chariot and compete in a race. The chariots dash down Mill Avenue to win a $2,000 prize, along with 60 cases of Red Bull. Cronkite News reporter Ann Perry attended the event and talked with some of the colorful teams.
Red Bull brought their chariot race to Tempe where 20 student teams competed. Teams dress up, perform a skit, race around a track, and answer trivia questions to win. And with October 31st right around the corner, for one team, picking a theme was easy.
So we thought Halloween at first, just because it was around that time. And so first thing we went to was Charlie Brown Halloween. So we thought about how we could get a theme out of that, and Red Baron just made sense to us.
Chris, an engineering student, used his major to his advantage when creating the chariot. But the chariot's construction was not the reason behind the team's loss. Before going around the bend and answering a trivia question correctly, chariot racers are supposed to swap riders. However, Chris' team left the scene before swapping teammates. They continued on with an empty chariot, which ultimately cost them the race.
So one of our team members struggled to get onto the cart during the swap. That we would maybe want to practice a little bit more, but we didn't really come with the mindset of wanting to win. We just came with the mindset of having a good time.
Another team made a critical mistake as well. A team called the Super Service Bros incorrectly answered the trivia question. When asked what month comes first alphabetically, they answered with January instead of April.
Oh, my brain was just spaced.
Yeah, we were just going for speed at that point. There was nothing else to do.
We can win.
I was just wanting to go fast.
We had a great time. It was fun. Built for speed.
Although both of these teams lost in the end, neither team came with the intention of winning. For them, just getting to participate was fulfilling enough. In Tempe, Ann Perry, Cronkite News.
That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. Now back to Anna and Nash at the desk.
Thanks, Jason. Well, if you were out and about this weekend, you probably saw a lot of Halloween costumes.
But did you notice any costumes that seem to be more popular than any of the others? Google is out with its annual Frightgeist, which is a list of the top Halloween costume searches. Find out which costumes are the most popular in Phoenix after this quick break.
That's good.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
Welcome back. Chicago is a beautiful city, but it's also got a problem that's not so pretty.
That's right. It also tops the list of cities with the most rodents. Oregon just released its annual list of the 50 cities with the most rats, and Chicago tops the list once again. In fact, it's been number 1 for 10 years. LA comes in at number 2, and New York ranks 3rd. And some good or bad news, depending on how you look at it, Phoenix comes in at number 32 on the list.
A man in California says he literally hit the jackpot, but has yet to receive his money. The man says he bought a winning Powerball ticket back in August to the tune of $44 million, but is yet to receive a single cent. Lottery officials aren't commenting on his specific case, but they do say that it's normal to take 6 to 8 weeks or even longer to receive payment. That's because winners must go through a vetting process to make sure they don't owe child support or back taxes.
And we are just days away from Halloween. If you haven't gotten your costume yet, we have a few ideas.
That's right, Google Trends has released its annual Frightgeist, which is a list of the top most searched costumes. And the most popular costumes in the Phoenix area are Woody from Toy Story, Batman, Deadpool, Cleopatra, and a flapper. The most popular costume nationwide is Shrunken Head Bob from the movie Beetlejuice. Google also identified this year's top trending party theme as Beetlejuice. And I gotta ask, what are you dressing up as this Thursday for Halloween?
Well, I'm gonna be reporter Barbie. How about you? What are you dressing up as?
I had plans to be Woody from Toy Story, but it looks like I might have to change that up.
Well, that's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Ann Perry.
And I'm Nash Dara. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.